Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be continuing with our dream sequences, catching up with the other two members of our party. We've got Till here, played by Eric.
Hello.
And then we have Costa, being played by Matt. He's going to be cameraman in this first little bit. Go ahead and say hi.
Hello.
All right, so recap from our last episodes. We went through the dream sequences of Luny and Fenrick, getting a little bit of insight on their backstories and their motivations and what's going into this campaign. And today we're going to be exploring those same things with Till and Vol. So our scene opens up today. Till, you are in a dark space. Looking around, you remember, trying to steer the ship and trying to keep it from falling, but with the failing engines and the damage, you weren't able to recover it. You remember you were pulling up at the last minute, and then the airship hit the ground, and then nothing.
Okay. Lots of failure. I do remember that.
Looking around in this dark space, you don't seem to hear or feel anything, but you hear a voice saying, "Oh, seems like you guys got in a little bit of trouble. I think I can do something for you, but you'll have to stay here for a minute while I get things taken care of."
Do I feel the ability to talk back or say anything to the voice, or am I kind of like, in the dream those dream states where you can't actually say anything even if you want to?
You're able to reply back.
I'll ask, "Who are you?"
"Oh, that's not important right now, but in the future, you may understand."
Cryptic. Excellent. Okay, well, I guess I'll just roll with it. I'll let it happen.
As you comment back, you don't hear anything back for a minute, but things start to brighten up, and you find yourself in a oddly familiar situation. As the light comes back to your eyes, you find yourself standing among your old crewmates, out on an airship dock, very cloudy over the edge of the cliff.
I'll look around. I'll try to get a sense of what's going on. I'll maybe nod and it's definitely a weird situation. So my character Till would feel very out of sorts suddenly being with the crew again. I'll see if I can look around and if there's any of my current companions with me.
Looking around, you don't see any of your current companions, but you looking through the small group of your crewmates, you do notice there are some crewmates that last time you noticed weren't among the living anymore. Everyone seems a little bit younger, and almost as if this is itching a really old memory of yours.
Okay. Do I see my captain?
In fact, yes, you do. Across the way, you see the captain walking up with a familiar face walking up right behind him. He kind of calls over to the crew like, "Aye, sorry to keep you waiting, but I seem to have wrangled up a little gift for y'all." He kind of pulls this familiar face up next to him and says, "You guys have all been complaining about the chow that we have on the ship, preserved veggies and sauerkraut and such, so I thought I might bring on a little bit of a chef for everyone. Get your sensitive palates a little bit of a break."
I'd recognize him right away. I would immediately step forward and just kind of push past anyone and just kind of walk right up to him and just wrap him in a big hug. Just say, it's great to see you again, Gary.
Gary definitely seems a bit shocked by the experience and confused as they kind of have their arms limp on the sides in the initial parts of the hug, and then hesitantly reach up and lightly pat you on the sides in an awkward gesture of almost companionship, saying, it's good to see you too. You hear laughs and jeers from the rest of the crew being like, oh, looks like our little one here seems to be real excited about some decent food for once.
Captain, you know I don't like being called little one. Can you please stop that every single time I ask you?
He smiles and says, I don't know. I might stop for a minute, but it just brings joy to my heart seeing joy on the face of crewmates. And he chuckles to himself.
Yeah, you really had to try to think of a new name for me, didn't you? Well, sorry, you're Gary. I'm assuming I know your name correctly. I'm trying to. Till would try to roll over the situation and make it less awkward for Gary, since I'm now realizing that this isn't something that he's familiar with. Welcome to the crew, Gary.
He kind of looks at the captain, looks at you, and looks at the crew and says, yeah, you got my name right, oddly enough. But, thank you, I think. He turns to the captain. What exactly is gonna be going on in this crew? I know you guys said that you, don't really fly under the... Kind of looks around, to make sure no one's overhearing. The right banner, but... This group looks kind of rough. The captain lets out a big old chuckle and says, we don't fly under a healthy banner, and, a little bit of illicit goods here and there, but there's no want for excitement on our ship.
I'd look at the captain. Oh, that's right, you didn't tell him. I forgot about that. Well... don't worry, Gary. You'll get used to it. Maybe not all the way, but, you'll adjust here. It'll be okay.
Gary looks at you and looks at the captain and looks back to you. Wait, didn't tell me what? Like, what's going on?
Well, let's just say I have a feeling you're not a fan of violence, and, you might see quite a bit of that on this crew, and not the sort that's very organized or legal.
Oh, Lord, what have I gotten into? I don't know. And he kind of goes to say something to the captain. The captain kind of just grabs him roughly by the shoulder in a almost affectionate way and kind of pats you on the back and says, well, you know what? You seem to be knowing what's going around here. Till, this one's your responsibility. Go ahead and show him around, show him the ropes, as to say. Make sure he doesn't get too worried about these situations that go around on our ship. He's one of us now, and he ain't getting out of it.
I'd look a little bit, clammy at him saying, don't make sure he doesn't get too worried. My stomach would go in knots a little bit as I'd look over at him and say, you know what? Like I said, you'll get used to it. You have to. Come on, let's go.
All right. So right around that time, all of the crewmates that are standing around are making snide jeers about, fresh meat and wondering if he's what's on the menu instead of preparing it, various things like that. And the captain says, all right. Let's let him get a little accustomed to the crew. You go prepare his bunk on the ship.
All right. I'd take Gary by the arm, pull him a little close, put my arm around his shoulders, and try to act confident in that everything is going to be all right, and bring him on the ship.
All right. Down the pier behind you, it seems like there is a bit of a gangplank leading up into the rear portion of the ship.
All right. Oh, interesting. That doesn't lead onto the top deck. Yeah, this is normal. Start leading the way up.
As you get up into the body of the ship, you feel a slight change. Looking down, it seems like you are now sporting a few wounds across your body and some torn clothing. You hear moans of pain and the smell of blood fills your nose the moment you go into the ship, and you realize things have changed. The ship is moving slightly left and right as it may be already airborne, and you see that there's wounded people strewn across the floor. There's a disheveled Gary sitting right next to a wounded man on the floor who's missing his arm from the elbow down, bleeding everywhere. It seems like the man is unconscious. Gary is very pointedly has his back turned from the body of corpses in the back corner. He seems completely distraught.
I'll immediately move towards Gary, trying to ignore any pain that I might have, and move right up to him and ask him, "Hey, Gary, what's going on? Are you okay?"
I was down here the whole time. Luckily, most of this blood isn't mine. I've been trying to help everyone. I haven't done much professional healing work before. I have the talent, but I don't. I'm a chef, Till. I didn't expect to be doing this kind of work. As he's frantically trying to like tourniquet the guy's arm.
I'll grab him by the shoulder and try to steady him. And I'll look him in the eyes. Hey, look at me. It's okay. Calm down. You're good at this. You can do this. Let's figure something out. So what's going on? This guy is missing an arm? I'll look over and try to get an idea of what's going on in like the slew of wounds and blood.
You look down, and it's one of the crewmates you've served with for a long time. He's missing the arm below the elbow. It seems like the elbow joint is intact. You have an odd, hazy memory of working with this guy well afterwards. So you know, in this odd situation, he pulls through this, but your memory of the whole situation is hazy. It seems like he sustained multiple other wounds across his body, but nothing fatal.
Okay. I'll take a moment to try to look around the room. Do I have my toolkit in here? I'm supposed to have a chest full of my tools and, my tinkering stuff on the ship in this room.
Yes. This room is generally somewhat of a common room, and you use it as a workspace for your personal projects. Currently, it is a improvised triage ward with a lot of the cots removed, but your chest does seem to be sitting across the wall next to the man laying on the floor.
Okay. I turn back to Gary. Gary, have we done prosthetics yet?
Have we done what? No, prosthetics. You mean like a? And he kind of like eyes the room, and with a sick, almost sad chuckle, he says, like a hook on the hand. Like pirates?
Yeah, something like that. I'll take a look down. Do I, in this stream, do I have is my prosthetic arm still here?
You actually feel almost a sick and sad, sweet feeling as you look down and see your own original fleshy hand. The one that you lost years ago.
I'll sigh and close my eyes for a second. I think I feel a little dizzy with all this going on. The ship's suddenly moving. Everything's happening really fast. But try to get myself centered. Okay, Gary. We need to replace this guy's arm, and I know how, but I need to show you because you're the one who taught me. So let's figure this out together, okay? And I'm gonna go over and try to rifle through my chest here and see if I can figure out what tools I have.
All right, going through there, it seems like at whenever point this memory takes place, you don't have all of the tools you ended up with. This must have been before you became the lead engineer on the ship itself. And oddly, as recollection is falling back into you, you realize this is likely the night that the previous lead engineer on the ship had died when you gained your position among the crew. So you have quite a bunch of your old tinker's tools that you used for small objects, and oddly enough, the prosthetics that you had been working on and the prototypes that you had stored away. So it's not the masterwork toolset you currently have on your character, but it is a tinker's toolset. Okay,
I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to bring it over to Gary, and I want to try to work with him to make some sort of temporary prosthetic to seal the wound and give him something to work with here. I don't know what I can do with this Tinker set. I guess that'll be up to you, but I want to...
Go ahead and use your main ability attribute alongside your proficiency bonus, as you are going to be using a Tinker's set. And let's see, Gary will be alongside you making a medicine check.
Okay, so that's a 12 for me.
Ooh, and Gary isn't doing too well either. It seems like through the shock and panic, his hands are shaking violently, and he seems distracted as he's trying to like get the tourniquet set and strip away the dead and damaged flesh and muscle from the joint area. He vomits on the floor next to him and says, "Till, you're speaking nonsense, and I haven't dealt with this kind of death before. I know we've lost crewmates, but I haven't had to see it before. This is too much."
I'll look at him and again try to get him centered and say, "It's okay. You're good at this. Trust me. You've done this a lot. Maybe not now, but you're going to get very good at this. You're going to be the one to save a lot of lives on this ship, and this is going to be the first, okay?"
He looks up at you and says, "Well, I guess I should listen to you. You're the only one who ever seems to be willing to work with me here, and I don't even like half of the people on this ship, but I know it's my job to help them, and I know you're right." And he centers himself, and he kind of like leans up, he wipes his mouth with a oddly bloody sleeve, making more of a mess than he's cleaning. I know you're right. Here, let's try again. I think I have a plan. And he starts to describe to you what he's going to be doing as he leans over to start working on it again. Go ahead and make another roll.
Okay, there we go. That is a 17 on my part.
All right, and with his centered appearance, it seems like you talking to him really bolstered his spirits, and he is able to cleanly strip away the rest of the muscle that was damaged by the attack on his arm. You guys go back and forth, and you are able to describe to him what's going on in here. Attaching the muscle to various, leather pulleys you have within the prosthetic. And after a while, you seem like you hooked it up properly. The man is unconscious, so you're unable to test it, but you have the bleeding under control, you've cauterized all of the open wounds, and it seems to be fully integrated properly.
Well done, Gary. Good job. See, I told you. People underestimate us on this ship, but we can make it work. We'll prove to them that we're worth something.
He looks at you, a little bit of like relief and a little bit of tears come to his eyes. I don't know if I can keep doing this, Till. What if something like this happens again? Like, most of our operations are clean, but how can we plan for things like this in the future?
We can't plan for stuff like this. We just gotta react to what happens, We'll just do our best. That's all. We'll get there.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I've spent a lot of my life and a lot of my time just trying to help people. And when I heard that you were a group of people that were going against the local government and like the noble classes that keep people down, I was so hopeful, and I wanted to help you guys help the people, but I don't know if that's what's going on anymore.
Well, people say a lot of things. They say we're going to help people just so we can get less attention on us. It's a tough situation, Gary. People just want to be free, and, sometimes they get lost along the way, doing whatever they want to, and they forget what they came out to do in the first place.
I guess I understand, and I'll probably get used to it over time, because I don't think I'm ever going to be able to leave this ship unless the worst happens. But in the meantime, I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to help the people on this ship. And as long as we're only attacking the upper classes and making sure that the common people are safe in our own sick way. I guess I can be okay with that for now.
Hey, and I look around and try to lower my voice a little and scoot closer to him so no one can hear. Say, hey, one day, maybe I'll be captain and I can change things around here. We'll get there. We gotta take our time. Gotta be careful and keep our heads down,
He stays close to you as he says, you know what, Till? I think you'd be a good captain. I think you've got a good head on your shoulders. You seem to have so many skills and an understanding of the world outside of what we do here. Maybe that's what we need in the world. Someone who's willing to make the hard decisions and do the not so right thing for the right reasons.
I'd shake my head a little and look at him. Put my hand on his shoulder again and smile and said, you know what? You're damn right. I would make an excellent captain.
All right, well, I'm going to start singing to the rest of the crew. It seems like all of the major wounds are taken care of, and the ones that I wasn't able to help, I guess I'll start prepping the work needed there too. And just around that time, you feel the whole ship kind of shake and kind of get that sinking feeling in your gut as you feel like you guys are starting to descend. And a shout comes from the other side of the underdeck. Hey, our engine's failing. We need someone in here now.
Okay, I'll start running in that direction. All
right. As you get out towards that doorway, you realize that the center underdeck of the ship is missing, and you find yourself climbing up a bout of rigging, heading towards the crow's nest of the center mast.
Oh. Okay. I try not to look down too much. It's been a long time since I've been on a ship this high.
And last time you were on a ship this high, it didn't go too well, to be honest.
Not well at all. Hello? Gary?
You find Gary sitting there, cross-legged, arms propped up on the railing of the crow's nest, just looking out over the clouds. It's deep in the middle of the night where most of the ship is asleep other than the people on watch. You know Gary doesn't actually take any watch rotation, so it's odd for him to be up here, especially this time of night.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing?
I'm thinking. Looking at him now as he's speaking to you, you realize he's a little bit older now. You realize this memory is probably pulled from a few years later after you've been serving, on the ship together for quite a while, and he's grown to accept his place among the crew.
What are you thinking about, Gary?
I wonder what else is out there for me, for any of us. I've been on this crew for so long, and I feel like I've gained a bit of respect from the rest of the crew, but I always just still feel like an outsider, like this isn't where I'm supposed to be, and the rest of the crew knows it.
We'd be nothing without you, Gary. I would be nothing without you.
He gives you a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. And I really appreciate having you around and your advice and everything, but I don't know. I just wonder about what if I could get out of this life? What would I do? Would I go back to just, feeding the poor in the soup kitchens? Would I go out and become a healer? Would I become some kind of important man on a legitimate merchant's vessel? What could I do?
Well, it's hard to take those dreams into reality, Gary. There's not much we can really do to get out of the situation. We know a lot. We know their routes. If we left, we'd be targets.
And I know that. And unlike you, I'm not a fighter. I don't think I'd ever have the will or the ability to go on a life on the run, but it's something I've always thought of. What if I could go, change my name, and hide? Just be someone new.
You know, you're right. You're not a fighter, Gary, and you're more than that. You saved every single person on this vessel multiple times. I don't know. I think you're right. You should be able to do what you want. You should be able to go anywhere you want. There's a freedom that isn't here on this ship for you, even though it's supposed to be the place that you're free and able to do whatever you want. It's unfair. I agree, but there's nothing we can do, and the best thing we can do is keep our heads down, and we'll make it out eventually. You know, like I've always said, just can't get their attention. It's dangerous.
I know, and you fit in so naturally with them. Like, the captain likes you. The rest of the crew at least respects you for your skills and the fact that you keep this ship afloat. You keep it going. But me, I mean, I know they appreciate me and they keep me happy because I keep everyone patched up, but what do I really do around here? What if one day they just don't need me anymore? I want to get out before something like that happens, but I know that's not really an option.
Well, you know, I'll tell you something, Gary. I can do better this time. I can be captain. I can make it happen. It's attainable. I'm better now. I've gotten a lot more experience. You know, we could do this. You just, I know it's not something you wanted to be healing and saving killers, because it just brings more death. But you know what? Like, it's better than you dying.
He laughs and looks at you and says, You're talking a little crazy here. You know, you're gonna be captain and all that. We both know. And maybe that is something we can look at. Maybe if we both get enough influence, we get enough power, we can go and we can do our own thing without fear. If I left one day, or maybe if you did become captain, or gain enough influence that you could just leave, would you go with me? Would you and me going off together, doing our own thing, not worrying about what this crew's doing or the captain's decisions?
Yes, yeah, of course. I promise you, Gary, no matter what happens, I'll make sure that your dream comes true, okay?
I can hope so. And at the very least, it's something I can dream of, and I can think of in these dark nights where I'm sitting up here by myself. Which, speaking of which, kind of like wipes his face and shakes his head. He's like, I'm gonna be up here for a while, and I think I still need to think through a few things. Go ahead and head on to bed. It's okay.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you for being here with me, Till.
Always.
He gives you a smile and a wave as you walk back down the other side of the mast.
I'll wave back and I'll try not to think about how much I wish I could stay up there with him. Okay, I'll keep going. This is trying not to look down.
Yeah, as you go across the rigging, you find the ship seems to solidify around you again. You find yourself right in front of the doors to the upper deck of the ship. And as you walk out, it becomes light again, and you see a heart-wrenching scene in front of you. One that you've seen before, and you know what's going to happen. The crew is standing around Gary. Gary's on improvised gangplank off the edge of the ship. Everyone seems to be murdering and jeering at him. The captain's standing back behind everyone with his arms crossed.
What's going on, Captain?
Oi! Seems like you finally heard the commotion. This man thinks he can take part of our bounty from the last haul. Just walked in the room, grabbed some stuff without even mentioning it to no one. He's a thief.
I don't know about that, Captain. You know, he's done a lot for us. We don't need to punish him.
Aye, but if I can just let people take money from the rest of the crew right out of their hands, now that's a mutiny of a different kind, and we'd have some real trouble. About that time, you hear Gary yell from the other side. I was just taking my cut. My cut is part of the crew.
Gary, it's okay. Just why don't you step over here, and I'll try to see if I can push over and get people to step aside for him, just like shoving the closest crew member aside.
How adamantly are you trying to shove this guy?
Full force. Just not giving a single crap about him.
All right, make a melee attack action.
All right, that'll be 22.
Oh yeah, you, like, knowing the situation, like, you've lived through this before. You have a clear memory of how this goes. So you walk up and just chalk the back of the guy's knee as you grab him by the back of the shirt and just flatten him onto the ground.
Hell yeah.
He hits the deck hard, and you hear that solid thunk of the back of his head just racking across the deck boards.
With that, I'll immediately take out my pistol and aim it at his head and say, if he dies, this guy dies.
One of the crewmates next to him yells at you, "Hey, this man's a thief, and you're defending him? What do you think you're doing? He's stealing from you, too."
Oh, as if we're all the most morally pristine people on this ship. Come on, we're all thieves here. This guy comes along and takes some cut for saving our lives, what, tens of thousands of times total? I mean, come on. This guy is a saint to us. He's the one who's kept us alive over and over and over, and you want to kill him? If you kill him, you're killing the whole crew anyway. This guy would be dead. The one that I'm going to shoot, I doubt he'd live through another week of our raids without someone to patch him up after.
Hey, he's never taken a cut before, and boy doesn't even risk his neck when we go out there. He stays hiding in the hole the whole time. Yeah, he helps us out and he patches us up, but we lasted without him beforehand.
Oh yeah, we lasted without him because we'd have to recruit new crew members every single time and replace our crew, fill crew with strangers. We get more mutinies, we get strangers who can come in and can, try to take over the crew from this large mass of people that we're recruiting from other ships and docks that we have to pass by. But now we have our friend here who is taking care of us and keeping us all patched up. We can get better, we get more skilled, we last longer. I mean, don't you want to live? That's his whole purpose on his crew. And yeah, maybe he hasn't gone this whole time without, taking a single cent, but that's just because he didn't feel like he was a part of the crew before. And now maybe he feels like he is. I don't know what's going on in his head, but I can say that he does deserve it. And you guys are all idiots if you want to just throw him off the edge just because of that.
No, if he really wanted a part of a legitimate cut, he would have asked. You know what? He's been sneaking in, and I bet he's been stashing away plenty of that wealth. He's looking to grab some stuff and run. Maybe he's going to turn us in. I don't trust him. And there's nothing you can say that's going to let him stay on this ship.
Seems like the words of someone who's thinking the same thing themselves. How can we be sure you're not trying to turn us in? Going to that conclusion so quick.
Oh, most of us are on the run. The whole reason we got on this ship is because we can't live in the cities we came from. What about you, huh? Maybe the reason you're defending him is you're in on it. What do you think?
Well, what are you going to do if I am? I'm better than all of you. I could take all of you in a fight.
This large half-orc of a man takes a step towards you, kind of half straddling his companion on the floor. I think we need to hold you down and make sure you can't stop what's coming to this boy over here.
I will press the butt of the barrel of my pistol closer to this guy's head. Said I wouldn't take a step closer if I were you.
Sorry, did not have my push to talk there. He leans forward and goes to grab you really quickly.
I will try to resist.
All right. Again, just a melee attack action.
going to actually shoot one of the crew members. 12.
All right. Well, it seems like he's able to grab you. He reaches over, he snatches you by the front of the shirt, kind of dislodging your aim from the front of the guy's head. He says, "You aren't gonna do nothing. You've been here longer than most of us. We all know you won't survive outside this ship." And as he holds you, you see one of the other crew members walking up forward towards Gary. And the captain shouts out towards you and says, "All right, Till, you need to stand down. You know there's nothing we can do about this. The crew's spoken. Going against them now? It's not wise."
As soon as the other crew member starts going towards Gary, I will try to get free of the captain and attack this other guy that's going for him.
All right. Go ahead and make a melee attack to resist.
Okay. That is a 17.
Yeah, the guy does not seem to be holding you well. It seems like he was distracted by the situation behind him as you're able to just, like, break his grip on the front of his shirt there. What are you doing afterwards?
Immediately drawing my pistol and firing.
All right, who are you aiming at?
Aiming at the guy closest to Gary there.
All right, make your attack action on that.
All right, here we go. Oh.
Ooh, nice shot. Not so nice shot from the roll, but
made it into the hoop. So yeah, that's gonna be a 9.
All right, the shot goes wide, and the guy seems to kind of like duck to the side and hold his arm up, but he smiles as he realizes that it ricochets off of the prosthetic arm you installed on that guy. In your current estimation, not so long ago. But looking at it, it looks like that thing has aged years on his skin. He takes that same prosthetic arm and he grabs Gary by the front of the shirt and he walks him to the edge of the plank. And he says, "This trial is over. Any last words, boy?"
Is he addressing me or Gary?
Gary. Gary seems to just be in shock as he's like holding onto the guy's forearm, just trying not to be let go.
Shit, what do I do here? He's holding Gary up, right?
Yeah, he's holding Gary off of his feet right at the edge of the gangplank.
Can I grab one of these ballistas?
Yeah, you're currently not restrained. And seeing as you're on a pirate vessel, it is likely that it is currently loaded.
Okay, I want to get on it and turn and aim at this guy.
The guy in front of you says, "Hoy, what are you doing?" And the guy kind of looks at you and fear dawns in his eyes as he sees the large ballista bolt about the size of his torso pointed straight at him.
Yeah, try blocking this with your prosthetic arm, asshole. I'm just going to sit there and threaten to fire. But hopefully he stops. I'm watching what he does in relation to Gary.
Go ahead and roll an intimidate check.
Okay.
It's a very odd die to roll for that.
Oh yeah, it's a red die. They all look the same. Okay.
Just throw the die out into the abyss.
Oh, even better. That's a not nat 20.
All right. Go ahead and let's go ahead and let's roll a luck check here. Grab both percentile and let's see what you roll.
Okay. That was a 25.
25. Not so good. As you swing it at him and you hear that like click of you pulling the safety off of the ballista, he panics and he pulls his prosthetic arm to cover his face as he lets go with his other hand. And you see Gary just plummet off into the clouds.
Oh, absolutely not. Okay, I am immediately jumping overboard after Gary.
All right. You jump off the edge of the ship, and you Let's see. How do we want to do this, like, visually wise? Give me 1 second. I'll lower the cloud cover here a little bit. There you go. You find yourself falling next to Gary. You're able to kind of angle your trajectory. You've had practice with this before during boarding operations between ships. You get up next to him, and he's just screaming, holding his head in his hands as he looks up at you, and then just latches onto the front of your shirt.
Hey, it's okay, Gary. We're going to be okay. I'm going to grab him tight and see how close we are to the ship above us. So am I still in grappling hook range?
Just for sake of rule of cool, I'm going to vote yes.
Okay, I'm going to make a shot with it, with one hand holding on to Gary with the other.
All right, roll your ranged attack.
All right, that is a 19.
19, perfect. So it shoots up, and it kind of goes up and wraps half around the edge of the gangplank and sticks fast. You feel like, ooh, actually make a con save real quick.
Okay. My body not getting completely torn apart by this. That is a 21.
All right, you feel a sharp pain, but you don't think anything got too damaged as your arm just gets yanked to a stop as you both stop there. You're looking at Gary, and you're looking at the grappling hook, and the whole crew, eyeballing over the planks at you. The guy with the prosthetic arm yells down and says, "Oi! What do you think you're gonna do hanging on down there? Try and climb up? What do you think we'll do to you once you get up here?"
I'm going to yell back, "I told you I can take every single one of you in a fight. I'll do it. I'll figure it out." And I look over at Gary and I tell him, "We're going to be okay. We're going to be fine."
Gary looks at you and says, I don't think we're getting out of this one, Till. I knew something like this was going to happen. I knew it.
I say, "Well, it's okay. Just calm down, Gary. I'm not going to lose you, okay? Just come on." And I start trying to ratchet up the grappling hook and pull us up.
All right. As you start ratcheting up, you notice all of the people on the deck. They start to pull out their weapons and eyeball you, and a couple of them have grins on their face. And about that time, everything goes dark again. You feel the weight of Gary being held against you, and the weight being held down on your arm as you're being pulled up on the grappling hook slowly lessen until you feel neither of them. And a voice comes to you again in your mind, saying, well. Sometimes, even with the best hopes, you can't change what happens. And I'm sorry for that.
I doubt you care. You weren't there then. I don't know what you are, but it seems like you've got some sort of power. You could have done something. You could have saved him. You didn't have to die.
But some things need to happen. And some things are just out of the scope. I'm glad I was able to show you this again. And it was interesting seeing it from your perspective. And I am sorry.
Interesting, huh? Wow. I don't know what you are, but you definitely are not any variation of human.
There's a light laugh. No, I am not. Soon, you will be back, though. And there's things that you need to do. So just be ready.